Assalamu alaikum. This is Mtr X, lecturer in geography, Borishal College College. I'm going to conduct online class with you. Subject Bangladesh and Global Studies for class 10, subject 4. Dear cadets, hope you are in good health with your beloved parents and family members. Do you know why the online class with you? The answer is because of the corona pandemic. And in this corona pandemic, while I'm talking with you, the total number of infected persons across the country is 63,026, while the number of deaths is 846. So it's our utmost concern and duty to keep ourselves safe and sound from this ongoing corona pandemic. Let's move on our today's class. Topics. In previous class, we have discussed about the concept of earthquake, its reasons and consequences. And today we are going to discuss about the world earthquake-prone regions and the perspective of Bangladesh based on this disaster. The objectives of today's lesson are: first one, the world earthquake-prone regions will identify which regions of the earth is active in earthquake. And secondly, causes of earthquake in Bangladesh. That means what are the factors are responsible for earthquake in our country. Thirdly, the preparations and the necessary steps of Bangladesh to confront the risk of earthquake. That means what will be our preparations and what kind of steps we should be taken to confront the risk of earthquake here in our country. Okay, boys, there's some key terms related with today's lesson: Pacific Ocean, Mediterranean Sea, Red Sea, Geologist, National Building Code. Now let's move on to discuss about these key terms. First one, Pacific Ocean. This is the largest and deepest ocean in the world. It extends from the Arctic Ocean in the north, while Southern Ocean in the south, and this is bounded by the continent Asia and Australia in the west, while Americas in the east. You can see this is the Pacific Ocean. This is Asia and Australia, while the North America and South America in the eastern side, and Asia and Australia in the western side. And this is the northern side, Arctic Ocean, and this is the southern side, this is Southern Ocean. Second key term is Mediterranean Sea. It is connected to the Atlantic Ocean. Secondly, it is surrounded by the Mediterranean Basin. It is almost completely enclosed by the land portion. We can see in the figure later on. The Southern Europe and Anatolia of Spain on the north side, while the North Africa on the south side of this sea. You can see this is the Mediterranean Sea in this map. This is Italy, France, Spain. Basically, this is the Europe, and this is Spain, and this is Africa. You can see here, and maximum land portion is surrounding area of this Mediterranean Sea here. Okay, let's move on another topic, Red Sea. Red Sea is lying between Africa and Arabia. The connection to the ocean is in the south through the Bab el-Mandeb Strait and Gulf of Aden. The Sinai Peninsula, the Gulf of Aqaba, and the Gulf of Suez to the north side of this Red Sea. You can see this is the Red Sea here, and this is the ocean, the connection with the ocean in the south side. This is, you can see this is Bab el Mandab Strait, and this is Saudi Arabia and Egypt. That means, you know, Egypt is in the peninsula of Sinai Peninsula here. Okay, let's move on. Another term, geologist. Who are the geologists? You can see this is a figure. This the person, James Hutton, was the Scottish geologist who developed laws of geology. He is considered as the father of modern geology. Whatever, if we want to define who are the geologists, those person who studies the solid, liquid, and gaseous matter of the earth, they're called the geologists. Generally, geologists study geology, all do backgrounds in physics, chemistry, biology, and other sciences as well. That means this is the combination. Basically, geology is the combination of these science, physics, chemistry, biology, and some other earthen science, earth-related science. The scientist, the person who are studied about geology, those are called the geologists. The National Building Code. What is National Building Code? It's a set of rules for the construction of buildings to notify the minimum standards for design, construction, quality of materials, use, and occupancy, location, and maintenance of the buildings. That means the National Building Codes are included these type of standard while any building is being constructed in anywhere. In order to safeguard within achievable limits life, health, property, and public welfare. That is, in the National Building Code, these parameters are included. That means National Building Code acts as the safeguard within the achievable limits life, health, property, and public welfare. You can see some pictures of the buildings here, which are based on National Building Code. Okay, the next topic today is World Earthquake Prone Region. You know, the intensity of earthquake is not same all over the world. Geologists divided earthquake prone zones into 3 regions based on the structure of the earth of the certain place or the characteristics of the soil and some other parameters of that part. This is the figure here. You can see these are the earthquake prone zones in the world. And there are 3 regions. The first region is the region standing over Pacific Ocean. The earthquakes are mostly observed alongside the external periphery of the Pacific Ocean. In the first class or previous class, we have discussed about earthquake takes place in between the continental plate and the oceanic plate. You can see this region is vulnerable for the earthquake. Within this region, Japan, Philippines, Chile, Aleutian Islands, Alaska are known as most earthquakes prone regions in the earth. That means these regions or the zones are included in this region. And you can see these are the places here, and above all, this region is called the Ring of Fire. The second regions extending over the Mediterranean-Himalayas. In this region comprises the part extending over the Aleppo mountain through the north shore of the Mediterranean, which we have already discussed about Mediterranean Sea in the key terms. It passes through Caucasus, Iran, the Himalayas, the Indochina, and the West Indian Islands up to New Zealand. If we can see the map here, you can see this the marked region or the belt. This is called the region extending over Mediterranean Himalayas, and in sum up, this is called the Alpine belt actually. The third point, regions extending over the ridges of the mid-Atlantic Mediterranean. The mid-Atlantic ridge along within the north with the north-south. The Indian Oceanic ridge being conjoined have run into the part of the Mediterranean to the Red Sea in Africa. You can see the figure here. These regions is mid-Atlantic and Mediterranean Sea here. And now come here in Bangladesh. What are the reasons for why the earthquake takes place in our country? We should have to know. According to the experts' opinion, Bangladesh is situated in the active earthquake zone. This is the first and primary reason of earthquake here in our country. Besides these, there are some other reasons mentioned here. The first one, geographical position. You know, due to the location of the periphery of Indo-Eurasian plate and a connection with the Assam-Dauki danger fault at the east-west. Previously, the first class we have discussed that there are some reasons of earthquake, and in that class we have discussed that earthquake takes place in the peripheral area in between two plates. It may be the continental plates or maybe the continental plate and the oceanic plate here. And another reason was the fault. In this sector or in this section, in this perspective, both reasons are included here. You can see this fault, the Dauki fault. This is situated in this region which process or passes through the Sylhet region. That means this is the Assam and Meghalaya region of India, and here the Sylhet region of Bangladesh. And you can see this is the Indian plate and this is Eurasian plate here. That means the European plate, the combination of European plate and another part of Asian plate. The second point is soil category. Soil category is also responsible for earthquake. That means if the soil category is not well equipped or the structure of the soil is not same all over the country, that's why earthquake may be happening there. The soil category of our country is favorable for earthquake. The another reason is human reasons or human cause. Why human are responsible here in our country for earthquake? You know, boys, there are some hilly regions or mountainous regions in our country. The people of our country are cutting down hills and mountains abruptly for their ongoing demand. But they're not thinking about the upcoming earthquake or another disasters like a landslide. Since the human beings are cutting down hills and mountains there, that's why earthquake takes place in our country. Another one is natural reasons. There are some natural reasons here responsible for the earthquake in Bangladesh. You can see the location or position of the Dauki fault here clearly shown here. You can this dot 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 red mark line is the Dauki fault. You can address as one of the natural reasons. And based on the category of the earthquake, since we know that the earthquake is not similar in all over the world, same cause or same perspective is applicable for our country. That means the intensity of earthquake is not same across the country at all. Now let's move on. Consortium company that divided our country into three earthquake-prone regions. Firstly, terribly disturbing zone. In this zone, Bandarban, Chattogram, Sylhet, Mymensingh, and Rangpur division. That means part of Rangpur division is included in this zone. The second zone for earthquake, that is dangerous zone. In this zone, Dhaka, Tangail, Bogra, Dinaspur, Kumilla, Rangamati is included here. Thirdly, the venial zone. You know, except these regions, that means Bandarban, Chattogram, Sylhet, Mymensingh, Rangpur, Tangail, Bogra, Dinaspur, Dhaka, Kumilla, Rangamati, except these regions, the other regions of the country is included in the venial region. Finally, above three belts are called the seismic risk zones. That means the terribly disturbing zone, dangerous zone, and venial zone. Uh, if we summarize these three zones, they are called the seismic risk zones. If you want to ask why this is called seismic risk zone, the answer is okay, boys. You know, in the first class we have discussed what is earthquake. Earthquake is the release of seismic wave. That means primary wave and shear wave. The release of energy as wave. These waves are called the seismic wave. Since the zones are risky for the seismic wave, that's why these zones are called the seismic risk zone. You can see the map of Bangladesh is classified based on these three earthquake-prone zones or the seismic road zones here. You can see the map clearly. Okay, but the earthquake is going through in our country. We have to do something to face the disaster. There are some necessary steps to confront the risk of earthquake in Bangladesh. Why do we take necessary steps? Firstly, to minimize the losses. Secondly, due to the population density here in our country, that's why we should have to adopt some necessary steps. Thirdly, the cities of our country are unplanned. And fourthly, lots of multi-story buildings are here. Fifth, lack of open spaces in the city area or urban area. The narrow lanes are applicable for that city area. There are some poor skewing measures if there is any earthquake, and to be more equipped. And another important reason is that since the duration of this earthquake in our country is 30 to 40 seconds only, that's why we can't do anything during the earthquake. That's why I should have to do something before. You can see this is the figure here of our beloved capital city. The adjacent buildings here you can see. To confront the risk of earthquake in Bangladesh, we should have to follow the National Building Code. We have already discussed about what is National Building Code. National Building Code is actually a set of rules to construct buildings or new buildings. No building should be above 4-story height. And in this case, tin shed and earthen houses are hardly in a risk because of earthquake. That's why these are the preferable. You can see this is the picture of this type of houses. And increase the resistance force by coating on walls by using ferrocement. That means the walls should be resistible to bear or carry the quake of the earth. That's why during the construction of the walls, coating should be used by using ferrocement. The ground floor should not be kept vacant. The resistance force of semi-brick filled rooms may be increased by fastening the same around the form of dragging. You can see without base isolation, this is in tilting position here. And if with base, this is the strict location or straight location you can see. There's some do's and don'ts. And do's and don'ts are divided into two stages. It is applicable for individual and as well as for the mass people. First, we will discuss about for individual. What should we do? What should be done by an individual for earthquake? They should have a battery run radio, or in the modern science, in the modern era, modern time, they should have to keep mobile phone uh, on with researched condition, and they should have the torchlight. They should have keep a first aid box. The main switches of gas line, water line, and electricity line should be turned off. You can see the picture of torchlight and first aid box here. He should keep the contact numbers of hospitals, fire brigade, and some other essential institutions here, because hospital and fire brigade is very much essential for any kind of disaster, not only for earthquake. Create awareness through educational institutions about do's and don'ts among the students and as well as the staffs related with these institutions, because they are the conscious personalities in the society. Everyone should stay away from the brick built buildings. You can say this is the picture. There stay safe location from the big built buildings. And at this stage, we'll discuss about do's and don'ts of mass people during earthquake. They should stay calm and cool-headed. This is most important for every kind of disaster in every situation of our life. And in the perspective of earthquake, this is very much important. Everyone should stay calm and quiet or cool-headed. Secondly, stay under the table or the couch away from glass windows or hard cover. Thirdly, take shelter at the corner of the room or at the bottom of the column. That means during the earthquake, people should not stay in the middle of the room or at the side wall of the room. They should stay or take shelter corner of the room and the bottom of the column. And for this reason, the probability of losses might be reduced here. They should stay away from large trees, lines of electricity, water, gas, etc. during the earthquake. You can see here during the earthquake, these boys and girls had taken shelter under the hard table. They should not try to jump from any high-rise buildings through windows or roofs here. That means if there is any earthquake starting, the people should not try to jump from any high-rise building or through windows or roofs. It is more dangerous than the staying inside the room. The next point is they should keep the engine stopped while driving rather than running their car or vehicles during the earthquake. They should stay away from hills, mountains, high ditches, or sloping land during the earthquake. And the last, They should take shelter at safe places from risky places. This is the uh, this is the template how to stay safe during the earthquake. This column is for the do's and this column is for don'ts. If we read out it, drop the ground and take cover by getting under a sturdy or a strong table for that. And if don't, you can read here that do not move about or kick up dust. If trapped under debris, do not light a mess, etc. Now here comes. You think you people are very much conscious. We also think that you people are very much conscious person or conscious group of the society and as well as of your family. That's why the conscious people have some responsibilities. After earthquake, what would be the responsibility of a conscious people? Examine own injury as well as the injuries of others and provide first aid if it is necessary. Secondly, check the lines and connections of water, gas, electricity, etc. Thirdly, keep the radio on to hear the further announcement regarding the disaster. This is the picture or figure of a gas. This is here. You can see this. This is shown here. The gas line. It should be checked after the earthquake. The conscious people must be aware of this. Keep the doors and windows open. Must not be closed. Next, should not work barefooted and be aware of plundering and work according to the advice of the experienced individuals. You know, the individual, that means those individuals who are experienced or expertise, they can take some necessary steps or useful or effective necessary steps to face the situation fruitfully. You can see this is the picture shown here. This person after earthquake is carrying the television with barefoot, and there may be possibility or probability of further accident while he's trying to save his television set after the earthquake. That's why the people should not be worked or doing any work with in barefoot. Okay, now come to the conclusion about today's class. We have discussed about which regions in the world are earthquake prone. Secondly, why earthquake takes place in Bangladesh. Thirdly, what is seismic risk zones. Fourth, how an individual and mass people take necessary steps to confront risk of earthquake in Bangladesh. Next point is what should be the do's and don'ts during earthquake. The next question, how you will play a role as a conscious person after an earthquake. Now this stage answer and question session. Since you are not present in my class face to face or directly, that's why put your questions in comment box. I will try to clarify it according to your query. This is the task for you. You should have submit an assignment answering the following questions. Draw a map and identify the earthquake-prone zones in the world. Write the causes of earthquake in Bangladesh. How we can take necessary steps to confront the risk of earthquake in Bangladesh. Write down the answer of this question on piece of paper by your black pen and take snaps by your mobile phone. Then it upload as assignment when you are asked to submit. The next topic of our class, family structure of Bangladesh. You can see the photograph. We can consider the 37th base of your college is considered as a family. Both of these are the formation of this 37th base. Before concluding today's class, boys, you know the coronavirus, this is the pandemic. We should have to prevent it. Take steps to protect yourself. Avoid close contact. Clean your hands often. Stay at home. Cover coughs and sneezes. Wear a face mask if you're sick. Clean and disinfect. And following these instructions, keep yourself safe and sound and keep your family away from this ongoing pandemic. And may Allah keep us safe and sound amid this ongoing pandemic here. Thank you very much. Allah Hafiz.